Hey everyone, it's Jack and Ross from Cultaholic.com. We bring the swag like nobody can. Ross?
Mixing, Angelo Dawkins.
You tired?
Oh.
But the wrestling doesn't stop, and when the wrestling doesn't stop, the news doesn't stop either. That's right, on this fine Thursday, we have a hot slice of wrestling news for you.
You eat eggs in the afternoon, Jack?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I can think of some dishes that I'd eat. Yeah, why?
Just how do you like your news in the afternoon?
With scrambled and poached and that. First of all, a top WWE star is reportedly injured following WrestleMania 35. Next up, could we know the identity of the television network set to host All Elite Wrestling's TV show? And finally, it's been revealed that a WWE creative team member was released at the Hall of Fame for a pretty strange reason. First of all, according to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer Radio, it seems as though there's been another injury coming out of WrestleMania 35. We already knew that Drew McIntyre may have sustained one on this week's SmackDown Live, and also that AJ Styles has sustained an injury after his big superplex spot with Randy Orton at WrestleMania.
Ronda's broke her hand as well, apparently.
Really? Oh, yes.
On the face of Becky Lynch.
It's not real, though.
No.
And now, it seems like Daniel Bryan might also have been injured during WrestleMania. Meltzer explained that Bryan was set to undergo a medical examination this week, but it isn't known when that'll take place. But apparently he may have hurt himself during that match with Kofi Kingston. Looking at the match, or what I remember of it, I can't think of a particular point.
I reckon he did it when wrenching some sort of submission hold, because there was a lot of them, wasn't there?
There was quite a lot of that,
A lot of mat wrestling. Catch as catch can.
A lot of that going on. But yeah, apparently then Bryan was sent home early from Brooklyn this week and didn't appear on SmackDown Live, of course. And apparently the injury is possibly the reason for that. But there's been so many injuries. We already mentioned AJ, Drew, and Ronda. Tanahashi at the New Japan show had a match with Zack Sabre Jr. and also reportedly sustained an injury. I guess that's just what happens when there's just a weekend of stressful,
I suffered a broken heart.
When?
In the predictions competition.
Oh, I see. Right, okay. I thought you meant like because of some wrestling result. Well, yeah.
That was the wrestling results.
Yeah, it seems as though. Does this normally happen every year? Is there like a spate of injuries following WrestleMania?
I can't remember one being as big as this.
No.
But you'd imagine a few people get injured. You know, WrestleMania is the show of the year, isn't it? Well, you leave it all on the line, do it in front of your peers, whatever Undertaker said back in the day. So it happens, I guess. Yeah,
thankfully none of them, at least as far as we know already, seem to be too serious, but we'll wait for further news on people like Bryan. I think AJ Styles revealed his while he was playing some video games with some fans. Just talked about it, said, yeah, my hip hurt or something. He said off the superplex, he landed and one of his hips touched down slightly before the other one. He said it was completely on him, it wasn't Randy's fault. But the next day, all the nerves around it felt quite minor at the time, but then the next day he could barely walk. All the nerves had swollen up in his back, it sounded awful. But he said that basically he's had an x-ray. It all seems to be pretty fine. And he should be back and fighting fit in no time. But I hope it would be a massive shame if Bryan was injured because, you know, they've got to take special precautions with Bryan given his track record of injuries and stuff. But it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's not ballet.
It's not.
It's
even though ballet, if you look at the state of a ballet dancer's feet, is absolutely horrible.
It's not. It should be something different. It's not.
It's not pillow fighting.
That's the one. Yeah, that'd do. But yeah, hopefully everyone recovers really quickly and fine and everything. And everything's all good heading into, what's the next one? Money in the Bank?
You're correct.
Bloody hell. Next up, now there's already been little bits and pieces leaked or released or just accidentally told.
Or Jim Rost.
Well, Jim Rost, about the All Elite Wrestling's TV deal at some point. Now, Jim Ross reckons, and I suppose he would know since they've signed him, that there'll be a TV deal which is going to be a 2-hour show weekly starting in October.
Apparently the same week SmackDown goes to Fox.
Oh, really?
So I think that's the 4th. SmackDown starts Friday the 4th of October. So on that Tuesday, perhaps, we might get Tuesday Night Dynamite, I think it's going to be called.
Oh, exciting.
It's a great
times.
name, that.
It's
Great
like
name.
The Monday Night Wars all over again, but not. Now, this sort of recent development comes courtesy of a Twitter user called @TheFightOracle.
He would know.
He would, being the Oracle, and he says that All Elite Wrestling was listed by Turner Sports as part of its portfolio of programming that'll be presented to advertisers at next month's Upfronts, which I guess is like a preview, like here's what we're planning, which happens on May 15th, so we should get confirmation by then. But this basically means that it seems as though billionaire Ted...
Can't believe it's happened again.
I know.
Hello again, Vince. I'm coming to the wrestling business.
Yes.
That's all right for you, Tom. Ted. Oh my God. Ted, I'm in the entertainment business.
It seems like Ted is sticking his finger in the pie again. It doesn't seem, I guess, like he'll be, because wasn't he like a big financial backer of WCW? But obviously the Khan family are the ones behind All Elite Wrestling. But Ted, I guess, couldn't resist having another shot, having another pop at the McMahon family, trying to take over the wrestling business once again. It's pretty exciting because obviously the Turner Network has a history of putting on wrestling. So hopefully they're going to be, I want them to be kind of, for the benefit of All Elite Wrestling, I want them to be quite laissez-faire. Do what you want. We'll give you a bit of a hands-off approach because it seems like Cody and the Bucks know what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's what you want to hope for anyway.
You want wrestling people running a wrestling show, not what WCW was, well, towards the end anyway, which was non-wrestling people running a wrestling show. And
you kind of got the sense that, I mean, you could argue that it was partly WCW's fault, but they saw it as a bit of an embarrassment towards the end. They didn't really want that about. Whereas nowadays, wrestling's a bit cooler, isn't it? Indie wrestling.
I mean, look at us two sat here dressed like this.
That's right.
We're the epitome of cool. We are the masters of cool.
The 2-hour show is an intriguing one for me. I think, as we were saying earlier, it is probably a right sort of time slot. If you look at NXT, that manages to condense quite a lot into 1 hour. I think All Elite 2 hours would be quite good. Once it gets to 3 like Raw, that's just a bit
it's a bit too much. But I've seen an issue already that Jim Ross has brought up on this week's podcast, I believe. He says they're going to have a 3-man commentary booth.
Oh, you only need 2.
You don't need 3, Jim. You know that. I thought you used to hate it back in the day.
Did he?
I've not read the comments from his podcast, but I saw the headline before. Jim Ross says All Elite will have 3.
Next up, a bit of a weird one, and it sounds really harsh actually. This story made me a bit sad for the bloke. So a WWE creative team member, Robert Evans, was let go from WWE over WrestleMania weekend following, well, I was going to say controversy, but it sort of seemed like much ado about nothing, from the Hall of Fame. This is according to PWInsider.com. Now apparently, well, first of all, the big revelation is that these speeches, these segments at the Hall of Fame, have sort of producers or writers behind it.
I think this might be a new thing because it was visible a few times during the ceremony, but there was an auto cue this year. I don't know if it's there any other year. Someone in the comments let us know. But a few times it was shown just underneath the hard cam, a big screen with the speeches on. Surely to ensure there's not another Hillbilly Jim, even though Bret Hart almost got there. But yeah, maybe this was just a first time thing to condense it down and keep it to a sort of nice length, but I guess the show still went on for like 4 hours or whatever. So. Yeah,
well, it did seem as though this year's Hall of Fame was a bit more produced, and this seems to be confirmation of that. But the fallout of all this is that apparently it's a whole thing that Vince hates being mentioned or praised or anything during Hall of Fame speeches, almost to the point I read that it became, here we go in the PW Insider, it says it's become something of a running joke backstage. And Robert Evans, this creative team member, apparently gave the green light, gave the go-ahead for Bret to mention Vince in his speech, and Vince booted off in Gorilla.
It wasn't even a bad thing. It was just Bret was talking about the first time, like Vince's first impressions when he met the Hart Foundation. It was just a bit of a part of their story, I guess, to get into the Hall of Fame. I don't know what his issue is.
But he was positive about them as well, Vince, at the time. He praised the Hart Foundation, which is quite strange. But yeah, apparently Vince really wasn't happy about this and fired him on the spot.
But I guess if this happened during the show, it just makes DX like a big bunch of dicks.
Yeah.
Because they did that running joke, didn't they? Oh, you can't mention Vince McMahon's name. Who? Vince McMahon? Yes, Vince McMahon. Don't say his name. And if the guy's just lost his job before that.
Now, this story made me realise that this guy, Robert Evans, is the same person who used to wrestle for Chikara under Archibald Peck. And R.D. Evans was another ring name as well. So he's one of those guys like Quackenbush or like Sarah Del Rey, who came from Chikara and found a niche as like a trainer or a creative or a backstage role in WWE. I saw a tweet from him without realising at the time that it's the same bloke who got released earlier on today, which is just like, you know, the note thing, the app on your phone, the note thing, and he put, here's my statement, and it just put, the top line was, I quit WWE, and then underneath it had, shopping list, grocery, milk. So he's clearly keeping a bit of a good sense of humour about it all, but it seems a bit bloody harsh. And then you've got D-Generation X coming out afterwards, and for a joke, just mention Vince as much as they possibly could.
I mean, this report seems to say like he got fired during the ceremony, as if it happened backstage. So if he did, and I presume Triple H was sat next to Vince or near Vince and saw that happen, he's gone out there and done that?
Yeah.
Arsehole.
They should have stuck up for him.
Yeah.
Poor bloke. It does seem a bit like one of those things that happens. It reminds me of when Titus O'Neil lightly touched Vince and got suspended for months.
Well, he ruined Daniel Bryan's retirement, didn't he?
Apparently so. It seems like sometimes Vince is like, sometimes he'll react to something really well, like Pat McAfee's shorts. Sometimes he'll kick off. Sometimes he'll find something hilarious, like when Titus fell into the ring. That could have easily been a firing.
It could easily be a death.
Well, yeah, it could have been that support. But yeah, it just seems like sometimes Vince he runs on emotion.
But at the end of the day, if this is a well-known rule backstage, just stick to it.
I know.
If the guy's just gone against it, I mean, a firing is very harsh, but you know, if you can't go against the boss's rules, can you?
But then as a wrestler, you're always told, take risks, grab the balls take direction, take charge. And
the golden balls.
And other times you're told, just don't do anything out of line, otherwise you might get sacked.
Yeah.
It must be intense backstage. Yeah. And finally, I must issue a spoiler warning if you don't want to know what's happened at the recent set of NXT tapings, so just ignore us if you don't want to know. But if you do want to know, stay tuned. We must thank Brian Druckenmiller, who has emailed again with his rundown of what happened at the tapings, which is very helpful. Thank you very much, Brian. And the story of the night is that is the Undisputed Era not as Roderick strong as they once were? Oh, Brian, man!
Brian, you're spoiling us,
Brian. So, well, let's run it down, I guess, in chronological order as it happened. So we had a North American title match between Velveteen Dream and Buddy Murphy, who came back to NXT, a new man.
Good.
After his success on 205 Live, but he couldn't beat Velveteen Dream. And Brian's review of this is it was a bit slow at times, but a fun match. I thought it would have been.
That would be a surprising, yeah. Buddy Murphy against the bloody Patrick Clark. I know you forgot his name there.
I know.
Should have been fantastic.
Yeah, but it was still, I imagine a very good match. But I don't know, I'm just assuming this. I wasn't even there, but it just seems like those two would work really well together. Then we had that video, which I think you've seen already.
It was on the YouTube channel. So after the defeat for Cole at TakeOver New York, they're walking backstage through the curtain. And a secret cameraman is perving on them from the depths, from the dark corners. And Adam Cole shouting, specifically at Roddy Strong and at Kyle a little bit, and Bobby. And then he realises the camera's there and he goes, oh no, turn that thing off. Ooh. So they're teasing a split up. I mean, I was saying this the other day, I wouldn't mind if it was Roddy Strong. Keep Kyle and Bobby and Adam together. Don't mind about Roddy Strong.
Okay.
If you had to pick one to go.
I suppose, then he would do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay, yeah, I can see that. I found it very unfair. I know it's not real. I found it very unfair that Adam Cole blamed Roderick Strong. He actually helped him. Ridiculous.
I just didn't like the way that match ended with all four of them getting involved and it not working. Just made them look a bit silly, didn't it?
Then we had a promo from the man himself, Johnny Gargano, the new NXT champion, who discussed his NXT journey, how he went from being turned down at first when he was making his tryout the first time around, to becoming the champion, saying this is what happens when you don't take no for an answer. The Undisputed Era, minus Roddy, came out and Cole declared himself the uncrowned NXT champion, because had this been a normal match he would be champ, but it wasn't. It was 2 out of 3 falls. Adam, come on. Lovely verbal jab, says Brian, tossed around until Cole approached the ring to fight. Johnny geared up, but Strong attacked him from behind, and the four of them did a number on poor old Johnny. Should have known this would happen. Brian, you little rascal, look at him whipping out the jokes.
Would you like a job?
Then we had Dominik Dijakovic defeating Aaron Mackey. I'm not sure who that is. I'm guessing a Huntsman talent or a local talent. With a boot to the face, it took seconds. And then Dijakovic said he's feasting his eyes on the North American Championship.
That is a match I'd like to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Velveteen Dream getting chucked about by this giant of a man. NXT Women's Championship match. Now, I'd seen this one previously to read in this report from Brian, and I like the booking here, but then I'm not sure where they're going with it. So basically, it was Kairi Sane getting one last crack at Shayna Baszler for the women's title, and if she lost, she'd never have a shot again. Ooh.
Did she lose?
Yes, but it's how she lost.
She's going to be Paige's thing on SmackDown, isn't she?
Her and Io? Well, I'm not certain, because Kairi lost, but it wasn't via pinfall or submission. Basically, she hurt her shoulder. Baszler set her up for that when she stamps on the arm, which had already been weakened. But then Io Shirai came out to save her and cause the DQ. So maybe Kairi will go, why did you do that?
Oh no, they can't split those up.
But I'd love to see them have a match.
Yeah, but a friendly one.
Okay, right. Then the Horsewomen came out, the Horsewomen of MMA, of course, and they took out Io, and Baszler did do the arm stomp to Kairi anyway. And after the match, Kairi seemed to have one of them lovely NXT send-offs where she bows to the crowd. They're all like, oh, well done, you're the best. Could be the end of Kairi Sane, just in the nick of time for next year's WrestleMania, when there's a big pirate ship.
Cutting it fine, aren't they?
Well, not in the nick of time, I suppose. Then Candice LeRae and Kacy Catanzaro in tag team action defeated Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah with a lion salt from Candice LeRae. Ooh. Interesting. Johnny Gargano versus Roderick Strong, presumably playing off the beatdown from earlier. Johnny Gargano won. Then Cole came out to help, followed by O'Reilly and Fish. Matt Riddle came out to take out O'Reilly and Fish, while Cole accidentally kicked Strong, leading to Gargano's win.
How can Strong and Cole reconcile their differences here?
It doesn't look like they will, because there was some arguing after the match, and Strong left before, separately from the rest of his stable. Then, the debut of Kushida from New Japan, formerly of New Japan.
Same attire, nothing's changed there. Kept his full name.
Nice.
Unbelievable.
You'll never... Yeah, he's not just Kush. You'll never guess who he beat in his debut match.
Who did he beat, Jack?
Cassius Ohno.
Shock.
Poor Cassius. Always losing to the new lads coming in. I guess it's a job. Pin me, pay me, and all that sort of stuff. Apparently, according to Brian, Kushida's music and entrance was fantastic, rocking his Back to the Future gear as always. Personal opinion, let's include it. Match wasn't the best way to introduce Kushida. He didn't get much offense on Ohno, his much larger opponent. Still, there were some wicked boots and other strikes, one which broke Kushida's nose, or busted up Kushida's nose. And Kushida got a chance to hit many of his signature moves. It was great to see him at full sail.
Sounds like the debut of Kevin Owens. High hopes for Kushida then.
Against Juice.
Parallel to Kevin Owens.
And
That's a comparison that should never be made, isn't it?
And then the main event, Matt Riddle beating Adam Cole with the bro mission. Strong came out and tried to help, but actually distracted Riddle for a second and ate a super kick. Wait a minute, I'm confused. So Strong distracted Riddle for a second and then ate his super kick.
From Riddle?
I don't know, I can't work it out.
Reverse curve.
So it seems as though Strong got himself involved
So
again.
essentially Strong is just a clumsy boyfriend at this stage, and Adam Cole is playing the hard to get, I've got all the power girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting at here, I think.
He inadvertently led to Cole losing the match with the bro mission, and after the match Cole and Strong shoved each other, and this apparently was match of the night, match of the tapings.
Fair enough, sounds good.
Thanks very much Brian Druckenmiller for those wonderful detailed reports. I enjoyed his little jokes and his personal opinions as well. Lovely stuff. Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments section down below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter at Cultaholic and on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do, then please do check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Cultaholic, where you can pledge. And don't forget, of course, most importantly of all, to hit subscribe and to join us.